Okay, I finally found a copy of the plea transcripts. I was waiting on. I was going to just proceed with the documentary without it, and just still touch the bases on stuff. But now that I found the actual documents, it serves for a better purpose. So you can see, I wanted people to see firsthand how everything took place and as it was taking place, through the documentations and everything. Break it down, so people get to see what I was going through, what happened and everything, and how it looks on paper versus how it really happened, and how they use control group scenarios in their court proceedings and in their imprisonment and strategical assassination attempts, whether it be just to lock you up, to take your life, whatever the case may be. And as in my case, they locked me up and they basically took my life, the one that I did have, before they did what they did to me. So this is going to be breaking down a lot of that and taking it through the process of everything that happened. So in the first page, I got all the documents in my story right now playing, and I'll probably save them to my timeline or something so people can see them, but then they're going to be on my documentary. But like I said, I give everything here on Facebook first most of the time, or I do both of them at the same time with the documentary on the YouTube and through the Facebook. What you call it? Let me see. Alright, the first page, before I even get into all this, I'm going to do the first page. Now, the first page is just basically breaking down that it's a plea, the court openings and everything, breaking down who the court reporter was, and at this time, it was a W.C. Lynn, who was the official court reporter. I say the P.O. Box was 401 Upper Marlboro, Maryland, 20773. The state say the judge was Lonzel Martin Jr. Lonzel Martin, who is actually a junior, he's the associate judge in premises for the state of Maryland, was Belinda P. Gardner, Esquire, and for the defendant, Gail Saccarelli, Esquire. So, boom, then they enter into the proceedings. Into the proceedings, it actually went as, the court broke down what they was doing. The court opened up and said the criminal trial, said the trial number, state of Maryland versus me, Donnell, and then Miss Saccarelli, it states emphasis on Miss Saccarelli, who was supposed to be my attorney, but she never was attorney. And say, Your Honor, there have been plea negotiations. We do have the identification witnesses here, the police officer who showed the photo spread, and I'm going to put this on the record regardless. Pause. Time out. Now, I was already trying to get the lady fired or whatever, change counsel and everything. But they wouldn't let me do it, so on and so forth. But as soon as we opened up in the proceedings, the first thing she do, she's the first one to open up. Usually the state opens up. This so-called defense attorney opens up, and the first thing she says out of her mouth, Your Honor, there's been plea negotiations. We do have the identification witnesses here, the police officer who showed the photo spread, and I'm going to put this on record regardless. That shows hostility right there in the first place, because she's trying to point out a fact that she is in cahoots with the evidence that's going against me and has no intentions of trying to defend me. So she said she's going to put that on the record regardless, so it could be made well known. That's something a state's attorney will say, not your defense attorney. That's something the state's attorney say. So that goes back to my ineffective counsel argument, and how she was never a lawyer, she was never a defense attorney, so on and so forth. I never had a lawyer or a defense attorney the whole proceedings or anything. Say there is a very fair plea offer in the case, considering the facts and considering the possible defenses I have and really the defenses I don't have. I have been urging my client to consider this plea. I have talked to his parents almost daily, and they are in complete agreement that this would be the way to go. Up until this point, they put be able, but it's supposed to be saying been able to come to the terms with that. But I think now he is ready to see that this is definitely the best bet. However, I do think he is going to have a problem with the plea proceeding itself unless we can make it an alpha plea. Remember that, alpha plea. I don't know if the state would be willing to go with alpha plea. Then the state's attorney comes in, who is called Miss Gardner, They say, Your Honor, I have no problem with that. The state has indicated that it will accept a plea of guilty without an admission of guilt. Ms. Gardner, yes. Ms. Sacarelli, did you want to explain what that means to him, or do you want me to? All right, boom. Going back to page 2. Not only did they have people in there that they coerced. First and foremost, I never wanted to take a plea, never tried to take a plea, none of that. I told the lawyer I'm not taking no plea. Don't come in with no plea, none of that. So I was locked up the whole time for almost 10 months. It was 9 months around this time. And never went to court. They never let me go to a hearing or anything, a proceeding. So no evidence. I was never allowed to refute any evidence that the state was putting in there the whole time. So they was allowed to lie and falsify information and misrepresent information, facts, all type of stuff the whole time to keep me locked up and to get me into the situation where they tried to make it look like they had a legitimate plea. So in that situation, they were so desperate. Like when I was locked up, when they took me out of the courtroom, because when they took me in, I'm thinking I'm here for like emotions, for my trial or something, for like emotions before the trial per se. And instead, they set it up for a plea deal, which I never agreed to a plea deal. So when they got mad at me, took me out of the courtroom, put me in a holding cell. But in the process, they walked me through. Now, granted, anybody been locked up before, been in Upper Marlboro, when you're already in them orange jumpsuits, they never take you out on the main floor with the civilians. I've never seen that before, ever. They always take you through the back ways, where you go through all the back ways, and then they take you through the main way, just to the courtroom. That's it. They don't never take you out in the open lobby and in the main parts of the building where all the other people were. And I never seen that before. Never saw that before. Never heard of it before. So what they did, they walked me out. They walked me out and walked me around so these so-called witnesses could see me. And what the state was trying to do was create an intensified enhancement, was to make it look like, yeah, this is the person that you're lying on, that we manipulating y'all to lie on and setting y'all up to lie on. And now we're putting you in fear of making it think that now that he's seeing you, you're going to want to lie on him even more, because now he's seeing who you are. You're going to want to lie even more because you don't want him to come home now, because now he done seen who you are, and so on and so forth. So, these are the deceitful tactics and manipulations, practices that they have, and they've been doing for a long time. And then this is something that they did in my case. So they walked me all the way around, let me see them, let them see me, so on and so forth, and everything. So none of their testimonies lined up properly. None of them said anything. Everything was basically hearsay and false information, stuff that they was coercing the same. So wasn't even tripping off that. The photo spread was the persons that one of the people that they actually picked out was somebody else. It wasn't even me. And we didn't look alike. But my whole point of saying back then was, in one of my other videos, was like, we all look alike, because they try to say that. And that's why they, people used to be like, man, yeah, all Chinese people look alike. And this name, Chinese people like, man, we don't all look alike. And it was like an inside joke within the community with the people who ran the restaurant. And they'd be like, oh, we all look alike. And they'd be like, man, we don't look alike. And it was just like an inside joke thing. But some people try to say that, because they see certain people. And some people do look alike, but a lot of people don't. Everybody that's Chinese don't look alike. You feel me? That's Japanese or whatever the case may be. So I use that as a play on the situation where they try to make it look like, oh, we all look alike. We didn't look alike. You feel me? What we did look like is the usual suspects that they would try to depict as a criminal and a target that they could utilize to go forward with whatever the plan they had plotted. So with that said, that's why when they would say, hey, the officer to show the photo spread and everything, you're gonna put that on record regardless. And then I say it's a very it's a very good plea deal, so on and so forth. And they have reached there have been plea negotiations. There was no negotiate. I adamantly expressed I was not taking a plea. I told her over and over, I'm not taking no pleas. She still went behind my back and worked with the state's attorney and the judge and whoever else in the Upper Marlboro and coerced a situation of a plea agreement and documented it as a plea agreement, despite me telling them I'm not taking a plea. I was trying to go to trial if they gonna keep me locked up. So it was no negotiating, nothing. Originally, before this even happened, because on paper, when you read it, young, they so precise in how deceitful they are and how good it looks on paper, where they went through the whole formalities of making it look like everything is done right and according to order and in proper order and this and that. Man, they some devils, man. They deceitful as a mother. So what you call it? Before I even heard about a plea, I never heard about a plea until like a couple weeks before this so-called plea hearing. She came to me, the so-called lawyer, Sacarelli, came to me and she was like, prior to that, she was like, everything's looking good. You should be going home Monday. So the weekend come, Monday come, I'm not going home. Boom. That Wednesday come, she pop up talking about taking a plea deal. I'm like, man, I'm not taking no plea deal. She talking about, yeah, you know, they offered you a plea to 30 years. Hold up, how you come at me and tell me last week, a couple of days ago, that everything's looking good, I'm about to go home Monday, I should be going home Monday. But then you come to me Wednesday, it was like, yeah, I think it was like Tuesday, Wednesday, you come to me and then you tell me that the state offered me a plea deal for 30 years. I'm like, man, I'm not taking no 30 years. I'm not taking 30 years. That's dead. So she was like, well, that's a good thing. I'm like, I'm not trying to hear that. I'm going to trial. If you're going to keep me locked up, I'm going to trial. So she said, all right, got mad. I said, man, I need copies of my transcripts, this and that. She still refused to give me all copies of anything, my docket entries. She refused. I kept having to get my docket entries, and everything I got, I had to get myself, or I had to get family members to go to the courthouse and get, because the lawyer refused to give them to me and said, oh, that's not a good idea. What you mean it's not a good idea for me to have the paperwork so I could go over the paperwork to see what's going on in my case? So that right there was red flags all day. So she refused to give me my docket, my discovery packet, all that. She refused to. So and like I said in another previous video, she was speaking about, like, she was going over witness statements and stuff, and everything she was saying about some of the witness statements was not what I was reading on the paper. So she thought I was illiterate or dumb or something. And this is one of the things they saw, that when I got locked up around that time, I missed school. I missed a couple years of school because I stopped going to school because I was like, man, no, they trying to make me stupid. And they kept playing games. Like, I missed 97 days, but I had good grades. But I didn't miss 97 days as not going. I missed 97 days as an entireties of certain classes. So I went to school, signed in, got all my classwork, did all my work, kept my grades up, but I just didn't attend all my classes. But I turned my work in my classes. So because I missed 97 days, they tried to say they was keeping me back. I was like, man, I'm done, man. I'm not going to keep going to school and y'all just doing stupid stuff, you feel me? And a lot of the stuff I was finishing in class, I'd be finished all my work, and they'd be like, well, you just got to put your head down. I'm put my head down. Man, you act like me a kindergarten or something. So I finished all my work, and I got to put my head down because you ain't nothing else you can give me, ain't nothing else you can teach me, this and this and that. That's crazy, huh? So I got tired of it. So I stopped going for a while, but the only reason I went back was because I was like, man, I wanted to start my clothing line and stuff. So I was working. I was like, man, I'm going to go ahead and go to night school, try to get put back in my right grade real quick, and then hurry up and graduate, get it over with. So that's why I was still in the ninth and then about to push back up during that time. So they didn't know my back history. They automatically thought, oh, he must be illiterate or stupid and so on, far from the truth. So they was trying to play them games with me. So they thought they had one. But they didn't know I used to do all type of stuff when I was young. Very educated and all that. And programs, everything. Educational programs, everything. So competitions, all that. But anyway, I was going through all that. So when she said that, I'm like, man, I'm not taking no plea. So on and so forth. So I thought it was done with. I'm thinking she get the clear picture. Next thing you know, I never was told I had a court date or nothing. I ended up going to court. It was for this. They set up a plea deal, even though I said a plea hearing, even though I said I wasn't taking a plea. So how was that a plea negotiation? You never told me anything about none of this, what was going on until prior to the hearing. and you never explained nothing. You just said, oh, they're trying to give me 30 years, and I said I'm not taking it. So it was no negotiating. No negotiation, no negotiating. So this is how deceptive it is when it versus the reality versus paper. You feel me? And they very good at being deceitful, man. They very good because they kept me locked up on false information the whole time. When I show one of my other docket entries, and then how when the case was ended during the sentencing, it shows that the case was concluded in the sentencing, and then it shows everything non-process. So it shows in the non-process section a first-degree attempted murder and murder. So I'm like, I was never locked up for a murder. So why is murder still on my dockets and all this other stuff? Because they falsified information to lock me up and keep me locked up. And that's how they kept me locked up, by misrepresenting the information in their court dockets and in their courthouse so they can keep me locked up. These are the scandalous practices that they practice in their government and in their courthouses. And then they want us to go to court. They want us to go to the same courthouses thinking that one of these crooked judges or one of these people will actually do the right thing when all of them in cahoots with practicing deceitful tactics. And then they make it like, oh well, it's just this one bad person. Nigga, y'all whole organization corrupt. All y'all doing is manipulating every section of what we going through, and then making it look like, oh well, if this was done right, and then this person created an error, and this and that. No, Slim, y'all intentionally setting our people up and lying on us. And that was the whole thing of what I was going through, and why I was blown, because I'm like, Slim, not only did you allow me to get me locked up, you just kept lying to keep me locked up. And the jump was wild, y'all, because they really was vicious with it, man. And so going to page 3, they say the state indicated, I already say the first part, they say the state has indicated it was up the plea of guilty. Alright, I went over that, and it says the court, Mr. Cox, if you decide that you are going to enter a plea of guilty, then I will end up placing you under oath. And it's breaking down what the plea is about. This is the catch. Before we even got to this part, like I said, I went in the hearing. I figured out they lied, and they set it up for a plea hearing. Daggone spider. You better catch some insects in this joint. You want to stay in here, bro. Flies, mosquitoes, all that. But anyway. So when I got in the courtroom, like I said, they set it up for a plea. I'm like, Slim, I told you I'm not taking a plea. She mad. So the state's attorney over there giggling and all this other stuff, and got the funny face, and the judge not in there yet. So she trying to go back and forth and argue with me about taking. I'm like, Slim, I'm not taking no plea. So they get mad. The lawyer get mad. The so-called defense attorney and the state's attorney, they get mad. They take me out of the courtroom. So now they put me in a holding cell. Before they walk me around and all that, they put me in a holding cell. They had me in a holding cell. They had the dude named, he claimed his name was Joseph Nyland. While I was in the holding cell, he come in the jump. He's like, man, I don't know what's wrong with you. This is the best deal you could ever get. Boom, boom, boom. It's no deal ever better than this. I don't know what God you talking about and this and that. Ain't nobody gonna come from heaven to say you like. Yeah, he went through the whole nine, and I'm laughing because I'm like, son, this is how empowered these devils were in these situations to deceive our people and set us up. They was empowered to be this deceitful and disrespectful to our people, and they very confident in what they're doing because they known for getting away with it. They know that they have a community of deceitful people that's working with them, so they could try to cover each other behinds and all that other stuff. So he breaking all this down. He's like, man, 5 to 10 years, man. He said, man, you're only going to do 5 years, and that's only because the handgun is mandatory 5 years, so on and so forth. The use of the handgun is 5 years, so on and so forth. He said, man, it's the best deal you could ever get. Boom, 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 5 to 10 years, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, Slim, I'm not trying to take no plea. I don't know what part you don't get. Y'all lying on me and setting me up. So finally, after all that, he get mad, he leave. So they kept me in a holding cell. Then they took me back in the courtroom. All over again. I'm thinking I'm about to have my motions and go proceed. They still talking about plea deals. I'm like, yeah. I finally said, man, you know what? Forget it. Come on. And that's when I took on the offense of defense. That's when I went on and allowed everything to transpire so it could be documented on how they were able to manipulate our situations and circumstances and deceive people into accepting these lies that they was telling about us. You feel me? They was manipulating the court process and the legal system so that they can make it look like we were guilty of the things that they were saying when the whole time they was lying about everything. But they created a process to make it and manipulated this process so perfectly to make it look like we were really criminals when we wasn't. And one of the main things that a lot of people ain't understand is when I got locked up, everybody who got locked up in my case didn't have a criminal record. The person who got shot, and I'm not putting this out there because to make it look like because somebody got a criminal record they wrong. No, because every situation different. You could have a criminal record, something else could happen, and you could still not be in the wrong. But in this case, Slim was in the wrong, and he had a criminal record. So he had a lengthy criminal record, disturbing the peace, doing wild stuff while he was drunk, all type. It was out there. So none of us had none of this. So the only people who got charged were people who never had been charged before. So you got to look at it from proper perspective. And when you're looking at the system, a system that's designed to make money by locking our people up and keeping us sick. Because when you look at it, the more people they can lock up, there's less people taking out Social Security, taking out our 401ks, taking out certain benefits from the state and so on and so forth that they claim that they setting up for us. But by the time it's time for you to get your money from these benefits, something crashed, company went out of business, so the $400,000 you supposed to get when you retire, you only getting $200,000. You getting half of that. But they say be grateful because you could have been left with nothing. But the whole time, everything they're telling us is lies. It's set up for them to constantly deceive us and make it look like it's our fault or we could have made better decisions or things could have went better. But it's not their fault. It's not under their control. But they're the ones running everything. So how is it not your fault? How is it not? You got all this money put up and y'all pockets fat and y'all bank account so filled up, but y'all saying it's not enough money, but we not getting the money we supposed to get, but y'all got money that y'all ain't even supposed to have. Y'all done ciphered all the money that supposed to went to us into y'all personal accounts. So, and that's how sad it is. So when we got locked up, it wasn't because we was criminals. We got locked up because they needed to put us in a system to benefit from it. They had to put us on a record, on their dockets as possible targets. You feel me? That's how they do it. They log us in their system. That's why you're supposed to be able to have your defense attorney fight to keep you off of their records, because once you get on their records, it takes a whole nother turn of events in your life. It affects you in a whole nother different way. You feel me? Even if you don't get charged, it's still a record there that they could try to use to create a probability of wrong or something, so on and so forth. And it's not like you're just basically innocent. It's just like, oh, well, you may be guilty because you've been locked up for this before, so you might now it's turned into a pattern. You feel me? It's how deceitful they are, and they already know they had him on in their criminal docket entries and in their record system, so they wasn't worried about him. They was like, man, we already got him. We want these three. We want them because we don't have nothing on them. So even if we don't got nothing, we gotta make it up. We gonna get them. So they locked all of us up. My man got hit with the gun. He got locked. He the victim. He the real victim, and he gets locked up. And they try to manipulate him and use his incarceration to make him lie about certain stuff. And I was like, son, this is how wild the government is and the system and these people in positions of power. And that's why it happened the way it happened. And they had to lock me up to make me look guilty. So it created he must be guilty because they wouldn't have locked him up. He must be guilty because they wouldn't have did this and that. Whole time they was lying about everything. So that's how vicious they are in their system and how they're utilizing the legal system to incriminate our people and other people. You feel me? So when I was breaking that down, when I was going through all that, I was like, son, this is vicious. Because I said, why am I locked up? After I was locked up for so long, I'm like, why am I locked up? This man never pressed charges against me. Why am I locked up? Oh, the state could pick up anything involving a handgun. Well, why didn't y'all pick up his case? Why didn't y'all lock him up? Because it's clearly evident, it's been stated that he had a handgun. So it's the same witnesses you claim saying did this, so on and so forth, just talking about this and that, they said that Slim had a firearm. So why are you not locking him up? Don't you think he been through enough? What you mean? Slim wouldn't have never got hit if he never played with his gun. Even after I told him, bruh, we ain't out here for all this. Go ahead, chill out, man. We trying to have a good time like you just had a good time. I knew he had a gun because he was geeking too much to go get the gun. He was to go to his car. So I'm like, bro, I've been in these scenes before. I grew up out here, so I know what's going on. You feel me? I grew up in these environments. So I already peeped the move. So I'm like, but for your best interest, go ahead, chill out, because we on chill mode. You know, you don't have to prove nothing to us. We not out here trying to rah and be on some bull crap. We don't play games, but at the same time, we understand, son. We gonna respect you as a man. Just be a man and accept this honorable pass on. And Slim would not listen. Young, he ended up pulling out a gun, did some wild stuff, allowed to leave, still came back on some bull crap and got hit. And then they say he got retaliated. How you retaliate on somebody who left and came back? If this man had feared anything, he wouldn't have never left and came back. He'd have been like, nah, I ain't trying to go back there because they on some other stuff. You ain't gonna try to go right back, or at least you gonna come back and be like, bro, man, this junk was we got off on the wrong foot, or that junk got blew out of proportion, man. You funny, supposed to go down. Like, you don't come back talking about, yeah, I'm a smoke slime and this and this and that. You don't come back and do that. You feel me? You already done hit somebody with a gun, so you already in violation. Some people let you leave and you still, bro, you tripping. So they make it look like we retaliated on this man and shot him for no reason. He was just a victim. He beat my man up, and then we retaliated. They lying like crazy. So and they made it sound good too. So what happened was they would not let me go to none of my hearings. They kept falsifying the information, and that's how they kept me locked up the whole time, because in all the document entries and stuff, it was saying that I had murder as one of my charges, and when you have a murder, there's no bail. So I couldn't even get a bail or nothing now, no bond or nothing, because they kept saying murder. I couldn't even go to school in that junk and finish up school real quick, get a GED and while I was in that junk, because they had me on no bond status. You gotta have a certain level of charges to even be able to go into the school unit. So I couldn't do nothing. So I'm just sit on the unit and accept whatever they was doing. So that's how vicious they are. So they kept lying about everything, and it just kept building up. And I'm like, so I'm gonna wait for get further into this jump. But so that's what happened though. And so breaking down the parts of the plea. Say, Mr. Cox, if you decide that you're going to enter the plea of guilty, then I will end up placing you on the oath, and you will have to ask any questions. But as you just heard from the state in response to Saccarelli's comment, was that the state will agree to a plea agreement, in this case without requiring that you actually admit that you are guilty. This is how wild that stuff is, because they set up this plea deal under Alpha, and I explained Alpha a while back, and then they set it up under Alpha, but the way they manipulated that Alpha plea, they strategically manipulated that Alpha plea so viciously that in my situation, they was allowed to use the Alpha plea to lie on people and force you to plead guilty, knowing that you're not guilty of what they saying, but they make it look like you're guilty of what they saying, and then they try to make it look like it's in your best interest that you do so, and that you're going to benefit from it, or that it could be worse if you don't take the plea. When the whole time I didn't care about none of that. I wanted to go to trial to allow it to be proven that they would set me up anyway. But then once they continued to force the plea on me, I had to prove that this is what they're doing to our people. They're setting us up to plead guilty to stuff that we ain't even do or we not even guilty of, and stuff that they sitting there blatantly lying about. So boom. So when it goes down, but we're gonna come back to the not guilty part, because the Alpha plea said I don't have to. Later on, you're gonna see that the state's attorney get mad and the lawyer get mad and say that I was supposed to admit that I was guilty. So I'm gonna break down why I did what I did at that point too. So let me say the United States Supreme Court allows a court to accept a plea of guilty without an admission of guilt, so long as the court is satisfied that the decision to plead guilty is made on the basis of consideration of the evidence opposed to you, consideration of the benefits that you will receive by having a certain benefit from the plea arrangement, as opposed to being exposed to the full weight of the penalties that may occur in the event that a jury or judge is satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt that the state has proven in the case against you, with particular emphasis with the seriousness of the charges that may be proved against you, and the court has the responsibility of understanding or at least finding that the decision to plead guilty is made on the basis of balancing your risk of having a good outcome as opposed to your risk of having a bad outcome. And we don't insist under those circumstances. The case is Alfred versus North Carolina. Mr. Alfred was a defendant where the court was called upon to determine whether or not it was a guilty plea to be accepted under the circumstances, and part of the examination would be to ask of you, are you pleading guilty without admitting guilt? That is the best I can do. He was basically explaining a brief explanation of what an Alfred plea is. He said, I need you to talk. I need to let you talk. Come on, Spider, man. Go ahead about your business, man. I ain't trying to hurt you, man. You gotta go catch some flies or something. I need to let you talk. We can have the motions. You have the right to trial. We are prepared to go forward. I will give Ms. Sacarelli a moment to talk with you. Then this is the state's attorney. She says her name is Gardner. Your Honor, the lead count is attempted first-degree murder, and what the state is offered is either attempted second-degree murder through first-degree assault and use of a handgun charge, capping the executed time at 30 years. And then the defense attorney, Ms. Sacarelli, the alleged defense attorney, and we will not ask later for reconsideration. All right, we're gonna touch back on this. We will not ask for reconsideration now. This is the lawyer. She was against me the whole time. Supposed to be my defense attorney. She was against me the whole time. The part of the plea, which is going to state later on, is reconsideration was accepted as part of the plea deal. So why is my defense attorney waiving a right that I already had secured? That is not a defense attorney. A defense attorney is not going to waive a benefit for their client that's not in their best interest. That's ineffective all the way. So but this is the lawyer. She said, and we will not ask later on for reconsideration. This is all stuff going on in this courtroom. Dang, man, I got this thing propped up. This don't still slide. My fault, y'all. So the judge qualifies so-called under immunity in certain proceedings, but their qualified immunity don't exist when they're intentionally allowing and participating in a wrongdoing, in an intentional wrongdoing of criminal actions and activities within their courtroom and in their courthouse. There's no immunity from that. So the judge was actually participating in allowing these things to happen, and there's no way that he couldn't catch it, or he's not that smart enough, or ain't nothing jiggling right in his head for him not to catch what's going on. And that's how the games that they play in these courthouses, because the lawyer, you got things called law firms. What a law firm is an expression of the law being firm. This is the play. This is the games they play with their systematic oppressions and systems and all that other type of stuff. So basically, the judge, he's supposed to be the overseer of all information, all things. He's supposed to rule on what's factual, what's going on. The judge, he or she has the ultimate responsibility and power to state, even if your lawyer made the dumbest decision or had the dumbest argument or whatever, when they look at the facts of the case, the overall situation and everything, they supposed to be able to look and say, look, based on all this, I see nothing this person did was wrong. I see this where I see this person was wrong at, but this where I see this person was right. They're supposed to rule in an honorable way. They don't do that no more. They created a system that has the judge from proper ruling in situations so they can get away with certain things that's going on, and then they can allow things to play out and make it look like it's not their fault. This is what they're doing. But originally, the judge is supposed to have the overall power to rule in that situation no matter what. You feel me? The lawyers and the state's attorney, all the state's attorney is supposed to do is present the facts of their side, the facts of their side of their argument. That's it. By law, though. Not just any facts, but legal and factual, real information, not no made up bullcrap. The state, your defense attorney is supposed to use the law, because that's what it's called. That's why it's called law firms, because they're agreeing that the law is firm, and because the law is firm, we're going to utilize this law to prove that this is right or wrong. That's why it's called law firms, because the law is firm. You feel me? So they breaking it down, and then the defense attorney is supposed to defend you in your situations of law. Be like, even though this was said to be wrong, but it's only wrong when this and this happens, and because this and this didn't happen, and therefore this person is not wrong. Even though the law says this and this and that, in this case, this person is not wrong, even though the law says this, because this person did not do this, this, and that. So that's what the defense attorney is supposed to do. They're not supposed to make up stuff. They're not supposed to just lie for you or nothing like that. They're supposed to prove that your actions or conduct, whatever the case may be, was actually excused, reasonable, or within the terms of law, understandable, and so on and so forth. Or if you did do something, you did not do it to the extent where the punishment that they're trying to give you should be what they're trying to give you. It should be less. That's what the defense attorney is supposed to do. It's all turned into a game. Now it's about them taking us into these environments, lying on us, playing games, and whatever nobody ever looked at and realized. Now, if they never lied on me, I'd have never been locked up, for one. For two, even though they lied on me initially, if they had let me go to court and all the false information was refuted like it was supposed to be, and then I was released, and then they wanted to proceed with an indictment later on or continue with investigating later on, they could have did so, but I would have been still working and going to school, and I would have had my own money to pay for a lawyer. My peoples, instead of them listening to me and getting my lawyer like they were supposed to, they went and hired their own lawyer and tried to sue the state instead of paying for my lawyer. So I ended up with a public defender. So the lawyer that they paid to sue the state ended up losing the case because I lost my case, which was set up for me to lose the case because they didn't want us to win a $1 million lawsuit. So it's a whole bunch of bull crap. So anyway, I wasn't ever, if they would have never lied or none of that, I wouldn't have still been locked up. That was the whole point. So now, this is how crazy the system is and how the government works, and they're allowing these people to deceive people and work and make us think that it's okay that this is like that when it's not. Is they lied on me. And because of their lies, they told me I had to pay for a lawyer to go into their court system and courthouse where they're lying on me at. And allow them to represent me so that I can get a favorable outcome, even though they're the ones who lied on me in the first place. So I got to pay for the lies that they're telling. That's what they basically saying. And they basically did. They said, if you don't pay or don't have enough money to pay, then whatever happens to you is going to happen to you. That's what they're doing to people right now. They're lying on people, setting people up, and then they're saying, well, if you can't pay into our system one way or the other, you're going to pay with your life. Now it ain't no longer, if you're guilty of a wrong, then you could be subject to the loss of your life, limb, and liberty. It's whether you like what we doing or not, we can set you up and then make you lose your life, limb, or liberty at any given time if you can't afford to pay us in our system when we want you to pay us our money. And that's how vicious they are, son. And if you don't accept what we're doing to you so that we can advance our careers against you and your people, then we're going to create a harsher environment, or we're going to set you up even worse than what we was planning to set you up for in the first place. This is what they're doing to people. Moving on, though. Alright, now, after she said, and we will not ask for later on for reconsideration, he said, the court acknowledged and waived the right to reconsideration, and the lawyers and the defense attorney said, although, look, this is the catch. This is the lawyer who just waived my right to reconsideration. He said, although I would ask that be postponed a little bit, I would like to... Now, she said that because she was like, yeah, nigga, you either going to act right in here or I'm going to make it worse for you. Slim, everything's in the transcript. Even the stuff that they tried to cover up is just blatantly in your face. Because they couldn't hide their anger. You know how people, they be trying to play it off and they know they some deceitful people and evil people. But no matter what they try to do to hide it, it just reeks out. It just seeps out their system. It just seeps out their character. It just, no matter how much they try to play it off, it just shows all on them. This was what was happening in the courtroom. And it jumps in the documents, you know, and I'm like, Slim, there's no way, you know. There's no way. So I'm like, you know, going through this, you know, it was wild. And this is wild, man. So and he said, although I would like for that to be postponed a little bit, because he either gonna act right or we gonna make him act right. I was laughing, you know, but it wasn't funny. I would like to bring the people in his life that would give you a pretty good idea of what kind of person he was up until that night. And then the state's attorney steps in. She says, it was Gardner. Last name was Gardner. And the way the facts are, Your Honor, the state intends to prove attempted first-degree murder. And just in terms of alpha plea, he is getting the benefit of that as well, that he can get convicted of a more serious charge if he were to go to trial, and the state will be able to prove that. Now, before I even go any further, I forgot to address something up top on this 5th page. On the 5th page, it say, Your Honor, with the lead count is attempted first-degree murder, and what the state has offered is either attempted second-degree murder through first-degree assault and use of a handgun, capping at executed time of 30 years. None of this was explained to me prior to anything. And then I'm reading case laws and studying and stuff, and I'm finding out that they cannot accept are guilty of one criminal intent up to another. You either prove that criminal intent or you don't, because if you are saying that she's saying she wanted lead count as attempted for, and she offered it either attempted second degree attempted murder through first degree assault. She wanted attempted second degree murder to be found through first degree assault. You cannot do that. You either find me guilty of second degree attempted murder or you find me guilty of first degree assault. Because all the elements, you have to prove these elements. You can't say because this and this and that. If what you call it, if an assault occurred and a person is guilty of second degree attempted murder, then the assault is already proven in the second degree attempted murder. But you can't say lesser offense of first degree and then still upgrade the penalty to the higher offense when you didn't prove all the elements of that offense. These are the type of deceitful tactics, and the judge let it happen. The judge, now, nowhere in this document is you gonna ever see 5 to 10 years. But that's the plea they gave me. The plea was actually 5 to 10 years, and the plea was actually for the first degree assault and use of a handgun, 5 to 10 years, and that it was capped. It was a cap of it wasn't a cap, but the guidelines was 5 to 10 years for the plea. Nothing in these documents say anything about 5 to 10 years and guidelines 5 to 10 years to express emphasis on it. Nothing. All they did was quote this second degree attempted murder through first degree assault, and then at the end you're gonna see what I'm talking about. But everything, like I said, when they took me out of the courtroom, the dude Joseph Nana came into the little holding cell they had me at, which I'd never seen a holding cell like this before. Some way back in a boogie jump, and it was separate from all the other holding cells. And what you call it? He said, yeah, it's the best plea deal you're gonna get. It's 5 to 10 years. This and that. Everything they've been arguing within them couple days was what they put on me right then and there. And when they argued in that hearing right there on that day with 5 to 10 years, they never gave me no benefit of that. So what you call it? Postpone a bit. They say I already read all that. And the state will ask for a sentence of up to 30 years. And the state was like, the defense attorney said executed time. So they was asking for 30 years executed time. So it went from a plea deal of 5 to 10 years. Once they entered the plea hearing, they changed it to 30 years executed time with a cap of 30 years. So off record, they told me one thing. And they make it look like, oh, it's a fair deal, boom, boom. But on record, they manipulated, and then they made it look like I was accepting what they said on record as truth, and I accepted that when I didn't accept that. I didn't accept none of that. But this is me playing into allowing them to prove that they was very deceitful and that it was intentionally targeting me and setting me up and utilizing their legal system to set our people up. So this all playing out in the courtroom. Trying hard not to get mad, get angry, get upset. I'm trying hard to stay focused, man. It's not a game. And that's how I was in that jump. So I was just trying to stay focused, man. And I let all my emotions, feelings, I didn't let it play on or none of that. So it say the court, yes, and if presented with the ABA plea, the court will be willing to bind itself. And it say, Ms. Gardner, I'm going to step back. That was the defense attorney. So the court, Mr. Cox, please raise your hand. Whereupon, this is where they swore me in at. When they say, boom, say my name, was called as witness to the court, and having the first duly sworn examined testifies as follows. The court, Mr. Cox, what is your full name? Spoke my name, went through the whole process of all that. I'm not going to hold y'all with that. So it say, what grade are you in? And then I've already broken down all that. All A's. It's just breaking down, all right, hold on, let me get to this. It say, alright, here we go. The court, are you currently under the influence of drugs or alcohol? Defendant, no. The court, have you taken any medicine recently? No. The court, that's the defendant. The court, have you ever been under the care of a psychiatrist? Defendant, no. The court, have you ever been under the care of a psychologist? Psychiatrist, and then they say, have you ever been under the care of a psychologist? No. Defendant, no. The court, have you been in a mental institution? The defendant, no. The court, did you get a copy of the indictment against you charging you with the charges in the case? The defendant, yes. The court, did you review the charges and indictment with Ms. Saccarelli? Yes. Did she discuss with you, the court, did she discuss with you the evidence the state would use against you or intends to use against you as the case goes to trial? The defendant, yes. The court, did you have an opportunity to talk with her about evidence you may be able to use at the trial on your own behalf? The defendant, yes. The court, did you talk to her about witnesses? Defendant, yes. The court, did she talk to you about state's witnesses? Defendant, yes. The court, did she talk with you about what your state would have to prove in order to prove the charges against you? Did she tell you what the state would try to prove against you? The defendant, no. Alright, boom. So this is the lawyer. The lawyer hurried up and was like, do you recall I said the state was going to try to prove this and that this didn't occur in some self-defense? You had some time to think about it before it happened, that they wanted to kill the person? Defendant, I agree that she did say that. However, my point of saying no was to prove that she didn't discuss or give me the opportunity to go over anything regarding the case, because we never had an official attorney-client meeting. It was always her coming in telling me what I need to be doing and what I need to accept, and that's that. Like when it talks about the witnesses against me and all that, I had an opportunity to present the witnesses against me. One of the so-called witnesses was this girl who's supposed to be the key witness. In the original charging document where they locked me up, when they came to my school and they said they wanted me to question it, but they never questioned me, they just locked me up and kept me locked up and lying on me. They said that she was the key, on that document, she said she was the key witness to the whole scenario, and they explained their version of what they claim happened, which was all lies. So now, I say I need her subpoena. The lawyer says she's no longer a key witness. I'm like, hold up. How did you lock me up in school saying you wanted me? How did these people lock me up saying they wanted me for questioning in school? 30 days after whatever situation happened, you come lock me up 30 days after the so-called shooting or whatever the case will happen. Then you tell me that the key witness you said in this affidavit, in this charging document, that you used to lock me up is no longer a key witness. So you mean to tell me you know that you lying, you know they lying, but you still kept me locked up on this false information, and now she's no longer a witness for me to use in my hearing. So how am I having a fair trial? Where's my fair trial? How can I not call forth this witness when they claimed that she was a witness against me, when her testimony spoke in my favor? Her testimony wasn't even against me, but they falsified this information just to get me locked up, and they keep me locked up so they can set me up. Let me get back to that though. Oh, so this is a lawyer. She said, do you recall I said that the state is going to try to prove this didn't have her in self-defense, and then she got all offensive? I said, yeah, I remember you said that, but that's not. I'm gonna make sure I get my parts on record, that I'm letting y'all know that I see y'all set me up, but I'm gonna let this go on and continue to happen, because I'm allowing y'all to prove that this is what y'all been doing to our people for so long. You say, and they make it look good too. They make it look like we criminals, we the worst people ever, all that stuff. They vicious with it. And they say the court, and did she talk with you about what type of jail time you will face as a result of the charge of defendant? Yes. The court, did she talk to you about if you were found guilty on the first count, attempted first degree murder, that you could be sentenced to jail for life? Defendant, yes. That's all she put emphasis on. She didn't care about nothing else. She was just like, you can get life in prison. I wasn't even tripping about I wasn't tripping off getting life in prison, because my whole point was you lying on me and you set me up. That's all I cared about, was allowing them to prove that they was lying on me and set me up. Whether I got found guilty or not, I didn't even care at that point, because I just wanted to go to trial to allow it to be exposed that this was what they was doing. But they gave me a greater burden and ball of truth and proof by forcing me to plead guilty, to prove that a lot of these people that had pled guilty in a lot of these hearings were not really guilty of what they said they was guilty of, and what they was making these people plead guilty to. And, which is actually illegal. I'm throw that out there, which is really illegal, but they still been doing it. It's a common practice in their courthouses and in their court legal system. And they say, the court, did she talk to you about the exposure with regard to the other charges also? The defendant, yes. Now, did you have any trouble communicating with the defendant? No. Never had no problem communicating with her, because it was clearly evident she did not care about me at no point in time. And then once she told me that, when I said why am I locked up and why they press charges against me and nobody and not the other dude, and she said, don't you think you've been through enough? I'm like, Slim, you already wavered your stability of a proven and true defense attorney once you took that into consideration, because you're now saying that you are allowing the state to hold your client on false information and false charges because they have an argument of a handgun being used. But the truth of the matter was the person who got shot, actually, he was the only one that used a handgun in a criminal matter, but he was never locked up. But the people who you're accusing of using a handgun in a rifle manner, you're saying they're the criminals. That's how vicious it was. So, no, I didn't have no problem communicating with this lawyer. It was clearly evident that she was against me the whole time. I had no problem communicating. She had a problem because she wasn't a defense attorney. So, boom. Did she answer your questions? Yes. Now I have been told that you have reached a plea agreement with the state, and that agreement would have you plead guilty, withdraw your plea if not guilty. The second account of the first indictment was first-degree assault, and count 4, use of handgun in the commission of a crime of violence. Is that your agreement with the state, the defendant? I'm quoting back what they say. So you're saying first-degree assault and use of a handgun? Court, yes. The defendant, yeah, I'm agreeing to that because that's what y'all set it up for. The court, it is my understanding that the state has agreed that the maximum penalty that it would seek or the court could apply in this case would be 30 years of executed time. Is that your understanding? Yes, because you just said that just now. No point in time did they ever discuss this with me. Everything else was during that day was 5 to 10 years plea. Soon as I went on and accepted it, and then they entered the plea hearing, they switched everything up. They switched baited on me. They say, all right, now we got him in a hearing. And this is what they say, wait until we get to the next, wait till we get to the next step, or wait till that comes. That's what they practice. They start manipulating. They'll set it up for you to proceed to the next step. As soon as you take that next step, they organize something else against you. You take another step, they lie, and then they organize something else against you. And the jump was wild, man. They just vicious with it. And they say, first-degree assault and the finish, yes, the court. It is my understanding that the state has agreed that the maximum penalty that it will seek is 30 years executed time. Is that your understanding? Yes. Executed time, yes, 30 years. So they didn't say none of that. It was only 5 to 10. That's all they said, 5 to 10 years if I took the plea, and the guidelines was 5 to 10 years. That's it. They never said nothing about capping anything at 30 years. How you gonna cap something at 30 years? First-degree assault only carried 25 years. Then they try to say what is the cumulative effect of the first-degree assault and the use of a handgun. But according to merger law, the use of a handgun has to be merged into the first-degree assault because it happened in the same offense. So you still can't go over 25 years. So how is you capping it at 30 years? That's an illegal sentence in and of itself. So when I kept filing a motion to correct illegal sentences, they kept denying and saying, oh, it's not anything that I can get an illegal sentence corrected at any time. Anybody can get a legal sentence corrected at any time if it adheres directly in the sentence. That adhered directly in the sentence. And they still kept denying me. It got so bad that the judge even lied and said he never denied me. He said, man, I never got that motion. I never did. But they sent the papers to me saying he denied it. So I'm like, who in your courthouse is falsifying information then? Who is y'all this stupid, or is that y'all this corrupt? Is it that corrupt in y'all courthouse that y'all can't tell who's really working for y'all or against y'all or working against us? So you telling me you got a whole conspiracy going on and y'all can't figure it out, but y'all just calling us criminals though, when y'all got people in y'all community that's real criminals setting us up, and you playing stupid. So let me get back to the documents though. This how wild they are. So 30 years execute time, and also the part of your plea agreement executed time means that you will not serve more than 30 years. They try to make it look sound good. Yeah, you ain't gonna serve more than 30 years. What happened to 5 to 10? Vicious, y'all. So that is the time you would have to serve as a result of the sentence. That would be the most executed time you would have to serve. Now, my agreement is also that you are free to argue less than 30 years. Do you understand that? Yes, I understand that. My understanding also is that the agreement will include the state dropping all of the other charges against you, including the attempted murder charge. Is that part of the agreement? The lawyer, so-called defense attorney, yes. The court. My understanding also is that as a condition of another element of the agreement is that you will give up your right to seek reconsideration of a sentence that could be imposed. That means that you cannot ask for a different sentencing than the one the court imposes. Is that part of the agreement? This is the lawyer. How you answering for me? The lawyer said yes. That's the agreement. Oh, sure. So look, this lawyer waiving a right that I have. How is this a defense attorney who's supposed to be working for me to keep and maintain my rights and get me rights and maintain my rights as to seek reconsideration and get a lesser sentence and all? She's waiving my rights. So how is this judge an official judge and honorable when he's allowing a defense attorney to do this in his courtroom in his face? Who was these people? How was they still practicing law? How was they honorable and all this other stuff? I'm going to keep moving on, though. That means that you put off sentencing, and at the day of sentencing, we will bring in everything that we want the judge to know about you, the court. And let me tell you this. Normally, when a person is sentenced, and after the sentence, the person has a right. I said you go to trial. A sentence is imposed because they had a blank right there. Under Maryland law, within 90 days of the imposition of sentence, the state sentence is imposed. The defendant has a right to seek, right to ask the court to reconsider the sentence that is imposed, presumably to get a better sentence, and the court has the power within the appropriate time to act upon that. Now, if the court sentences someone after a plea agreement, and if the plea agreement has been presented to the court, and the court has agreed that the sentence of the person is in accordance with the plea agreement, then the person can still file for reconsideration of sentence, but the person cannot get a more favorable sentence unless the state agrees with the reconsideration. Do you understand that? Defendant, yes, I understand it now because you just explained it, but I still wasn't properly informed. Being properly informed also goes into duress. Now, when you're taking a plea deal, you're not supposed to be coerced or subjected to duress, because that can alter your perception and alter your willingness to take a plea willingly. They know this, but they still organize this as a tactic to try to get me to take a plea. That's illegal in and of itself. So keep going though. The defendant, yes, the court. Those are two circumstances. What I have been presented with here is I am told that once I sentence you, you cannot ask for a change sentence, and you may ask, but effectively the court will have to just deny it on spot. Do you understand that? That will be fine, because you already proved that you're working with the state's attorney and his crooked lawyer, defense attorney. I ain't even tripped no more, because after I continue to throw shots out there like boom, boom, hint, hint, this ain't right, the judge continued, because he continued to just keep allowing the bullcrap to happen without even saying nothing. So that would be fine. It is, and then the lawyer was like, it's a contract. Whatever the judge give you that day, we will live with. No, I'm gonna have to live with it. You feel me? See, that's wild stuff they do, y'all. And they make it look like they in it with you. You ain't in it with me, son. You ain't had to do none of this time. You actually set me up so you can get a benefit through your legal system. So they over here playing, let's make a deal. I give you this case, and then you let me win the next case type bull crap. So the court, you understand that this part of the plea agreement, the defendant, yes, the court. Now, when you have talked with Ms. Saccarelli, you are here today. I keep setting this joint up, and they're gonna still slide, man. They say, Ms. Saccarelli, you are here today for motions. Is that correct? Once again, I was supposed to be there for my motions, but when I entered in the courtroom, they say this for a plea hearing. So how you go from a motions to a plea hearing without me even consenting to it? But then you force me into taking the plea, but then act like it's still my motions. Once again, deception. On paper, it sounds good, but in reality, everything behind closed doors, with everything they did in the dock that's coming to light now, you get to see the whole full view and full picture of everything deceitful they was doing and how they was strategically setting people up. Not only just me, but other people. So, this, and then what she said, I said, yes. He said, this is the day prior to trial. Hold up. So you mean tell me this is the day prior to trial? So this lawyer never sat down and went into detail about any type of defense or nothing. The whole time I was locked up. Never tried to sit down with me and go over any defense measures, go over the information and prepare defense or none of this. But you tell me I'm going to court on a day that I didn't even know I was scheduled to go to court. After you just told me a week prior that I was about to go home that Monday, then come to me a couple days later saying I got to take a plea to 30 years. I refuse it. Then you take me to court a couple days later saying that you set a plea hearing up for me when it's supposed to be my motions. I don't even know what I'm here for. Now, you telling me Even if I don't take this plea, it's a day before trial, and I ain't even prepared. How is that a fair trial? How is that law abiding? How is that fair? How is that just? Who does that? What type of legal system is this? Yeah, mock trials and all that bullcrap. So you mean to tell me I'm supposed to go to trial with a lawyer that I tried to fire and change, but they wouldn't let me change her, said I couldn't do it. And then you see what she's doing on paper and in the hearing and all this stuff, and then she set me up, and then they still want me to go to trial with her, and they ain't even prepared for trial. So how was I going to have a fair trial? I'm going to keep going though. Alright, that. Do you understand that, defendant? Yes, the court. You understand that you have a right to plead not guilty and you would be entitled to a trial? Yes. Do you understand that you would have a right to a trial before a jury composed of 12 citizens of Prince George's County? Defendant, yes. Do you understand that you will not be found guilty and still the state has proven your guilt beyond reasonable doubt? Yes. Excuse me. Do you understand that you will participate in the selection of jurors? Defendant, yes. Do you understand that the trial you would not have a burden, that at trial you would not have a burden on you, you would not be required to produce any evidence, there is no burden of proof upon you? Do you understand that? Yes. Court, do you understand that at trial you would have the opportunity to see witnesses for the state? Defendant, yes. Do you understand that you would have the opportunity to cross-examine those witnesses? They said throws. Somebody created a typo. Witnesses and have them questioned as to their memory, whether they will have an opportunity to be believed. Do you understand that? Yes. Do you understand that you would have an opportunity to object to any of this evidence and the state would try to use against you? So let me get this right. So, but they don't tell us that when your preliminary hearing come up, when you first initially charged and all that, your preliminary hearing, you're supposed to be able to, the state present evidence and you present your evidence, your information, and they present their information, and they're supposed to allow for the state to actually prove, or your defense attorney to disprove that there is any information or evidence that's worthy of going forward to proceed forward. Now, I told you in some of my docket entries, it kept saying that it was mooted. So when they kept mooting my case, they kept saying that it's not enough information to proceed. They kept me out these hearings the whole time, so I personally could not present information to and show good cause that they're falsifying information and lying on me. They kept me out the whole time. So now they give me an opportunity in trial. I supposed to have that opportunity before trial, way before while they had me locked up initially. I supposed to have that opportunity and had that information disputed and all that, it quashed, however you want to say it. So now they saying they held me all this time for almost 9-10 months, and now I get the opportunity to present this at trial. This is crazy, man. That's against the law in and of itself. But we're gonna keep moving. We're gonna keep moving on. Yes, the court. Do you understand that if you went to trial, no one could force you to take witness stand? Defendant, yes. Do you understand if you went to trial and chose not to take the witness stand, no one could take your silence, meaning that you were guilty? Defendant, yes. Do you understand that no one would be told not even to understand your silence? Defendant, yes. The court, do you understand that you could take the stand if you wanted to? Defendant, yes. The court, now you understand, if I accept your plea of guilty, that you give up your right to contest your identification in this case, your move to suppress those items. Do you understand that? I'm supposed to have that opportunity at my preliminary hearing when they initially lied on me and falsified information. Now, at my preliminary hearing, not only, once again, the evidence they presented when they owned my charging document was evidence of saying they had a key witness, which is this girl who was with it. They claimed it was the girl with the guy who was a key witness to the whole scenario that could testify as to the facts of what the so-called detective put in that document to charge me with. That information was false. So I was supposed to have been able to refute that right then and there so they could not proceed with that charge. They never gave me that opportunity. But now they're making it look like, oh, well, you got this opportunity. I was supposed to have that opportunity in the beginning. They did not give me that opportunity. So and all the other information, they when they ran out of information, when that information started not checking out, they falsified information. They ran to my house 2 weeks after I was locked up. And this is how wild it is, and this is why people don't want to register their firearms with the states that they are in, because this is what the police do. The police knew I was already locked up because they illegally locked me up in school. They came, got me from school, lied, said they wanted me questioning, and took me to a police station and hurry up and process me and put me in the system. So while I'm locked up, they kept my house under surveillance. So they figured out the time the father went to work, came back home, all this stuff. They did a whole investigation and surveillance and all that. So this is what they do. They knew if they ran in my house when my father was in the house, he had a registered firearm. He was gonna bust one arm because they came in my house with face masks. So he was gonna fire off on them. So they knew he was gonna fire off on them. So what they did was strategically noted that, oh, this person has a firearm. Let's see the best time we can go in there and proceed with this illegal search. So they lied and said they was going in the house to look for me, but they already had me locked up 2 weeks illegally, but saying they was looking for me. They waited for my father to come home from work. They knew what time he got off and everything. Soon as he came home, they ran out, set him down on the ground, laid him down on the ground, handcuffed him, took his firearm, took it in my room, took it in the house, took it in my room, took pictures, said that was the gun that was used to commit the crime that they accused me of. Then, once they documented that and indicted me on that, after they already falsified information on the charging document, and then that was thrown out some way, but I still was locked up. Somehow, I was still locked up. I never got home. I was supposed to have been home once they figured out the charging document was false and the information in it was incorrect, was false. So they still kept me locked up though. So now they needed more evidence. So then they falsified this evidence, took it to court, said that was the gun that was used, so on and so forth. The ballistics ended up coming back. They say that gun was never used to commit no crime. It was never fired, never used, not the gun used in any crime or none of that. The gun was thrown out, but then father never got his gun back. They kept the gun. They wouldn't give him his gun back. So he ended up losing his job because of that. So, once again, the state. And this is why people don't like registering firearms, because they will monitor how they can strategically attack you and figure out ways. So why is you coming to my house? For one, why is you going to my house with ski mask on? If you're doing a reasonable search, why is you going in? If I'm already locked up, why is you going to my house saying you're looking for me? If I'm already locked up and you already got proof, why is you falsifying information again? So all this stuff don't line up, and it's all in their face, and they still playing stupid, and they trying to make it look like it's a fair and just system, and everything's about being honorable and respectful, and it's the law, and we follow the law to the book by the book, and man, all lies, y'all. So they threw the gun out. So not only did you throw out the charging document, did you no longer have a key witness. It's been proven that your first initial information that you locked me up on was false. Now you say that you indicted me on a weapon that you said was used, but it's proven that the gun that hasn't been used to commit no crime. So you throw the gun out, but you still got me locked up again. You still got me locked up and not let me go home. What's going on here? But we're going to keep moving on. I'm supposed to have been home. Never supposed to have been locked up. So, now it's my understanding that in pleading guilty, it is not your intent to admit that you actually did what you have been charged with. Is that correct? I didn't do what I was charged with. I said, yeah, because I didn't do what I was charged with. So they lied on me. So I say it's to my understanding that you have waived. You are looking, and then it got the two hyphens. You are looking at what could happen if a jury returned a verdict for what most serious charges and some other charges. You are weighing that if you were sentenced under that circumstance against that you are guaranteed under this circumstance. Is that correct? Yes. I'm just proceeding with the hearing because now I'm frustrated. I'm blown. I already know it's a setup. But in reality, I wasn't afraid of none of that because I was trying to go to trial. I wanted to go to trial, but at the same time, I knew I wasn't going to have a fair trial, and even the trial was going to be a setup. But I still wanted to go through the whole process. But even this made better food for the masses, so they could see how deceitful these people were when they was a mile. And then when you take a plea, that's why when they do the pleas, you lose your rights. You lose a lot of rights when you take a plea because they know that they've been using pleas all these years in a deceitful way to deceive people and lying on them. So That's why they don't want you to have rights. That's why it ain't because you took a plea and you're admitting that you're guilty. It's because they know that in many cases that they are setting people up and they're allowing their people to set people up. So they don't want you to be able to try to prove on the back end. It's easier to prove if you take a plea on the back end what's going on sometimes. But in the trial it's harder because they play other type of deceitful games in the trial versus what they do on the plea. But sometimes it be similar. But we're gonna keep on moving. The court. And you are factoring in a number of things and deciding this is the best thing for you. Is that correct? Yep. The court. Now I understand that you are pleading guilty without admitting guilt, considering the various risks that you are associated with going to trial as opposed to taking this on the table now. Is that correct? Yes. The court. And knowing all these rights you have, is it still your desire to withdraw your plea of not guilty to first degree assault, count, and use of handgun in the commission of a crime of violence, and enter a plea of guilty to those 2 counts? Is that correct? But not admitting guilt. Is that correct? I'm just putting for the record, but not admitting guilt, right? Because I'm making sure on record that they're allowing these people to lie. And even though I'm proving and admitting that I ain't do what they said, they still allowing these proceedings to go on as if they're telling the truth when they not. That's how wild they is. But they make it look good on paper, and they got to organize. That's why they say order in the court, because they want to maintain a certain order, because they want to maintain control to manipulate that process to their advantage. And they're not supposed to use strategic attacks and strategic advantages against people. They're not, but they do. But now they give it that is your intent, defendant. What I had said, yes. Now, you have been satisfied with the services of your attorney. Do you have any complaints with your attorney? I can deal with them. That's what I said. I can deal with them because it's been clear who I'm against and who against me. It's already been made clear what I'm going against. So I'm not even tripping off of it no more. Well, are you satisfied with the service of your attorney? Are you satisfied with the representation that has been provided to you by Ms. Saccarelli? So now he's trying to clarify, because on record they got to make it look good. So he's trying to, so what you mean? Are you really not satisfied with it? Not fully. And I'm gonna show you the play on of what I did at the end of it. But I'm being honest though. I'm not fully satisfied, because there's no way this lawyer is allowed to get away with what she's doing in this courtroom and allowing her to set me up and waive my rights and all this other type stuff. That's dead, and not prepared for trial or nothing. So in what regard? Not fully. I know she's a good lawyer, and I broke it down. So my whole point was to make sure that even if she was a good lawyer on books or whatever the case may be, according to them, in reality she was some trash, because she was in it for the wrong reasons. So the court. Now you are pleading guilty. Whose decision is it that you are pleading guilty today? Mine. I already made up my mind. I gotta go ahead and finish this out so I can see. I gotta allow it to be proven that this is what they've been doing to people. The court. Are you pleading guilty as a result of any threat that was made against you, the fear of what will happen to you if you were found guilty? The defendant. Yes. He's supposed to address that. He never addressed that. He said, are you pleading guilty as a result of any threat that was made against you? And I was constantly threatened by the state's attorney, the lawyer, over and over on what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. How you going to threaten me? You either go by the law or you don't. That's it. You can't threaten me and say, she said, you guaranteed to get life. This and this and that. How you going to guarantee that I'm going to get life when it's still left up to the judge and jury to find me guilty and so on? So you basically telling me that y'all going to work together to make sure I get life. So that's what the lawyer basically saying, the so-called defense attorney. So how is that a proper representation? So, now you pleaded guilty. He never addressed the fact that I said, yeah, I was being threatened. And he said that the sentence was imposed upon you. Defendant, yes. He never addressed it. Do you have any questions of me regards to this guilty plea? No, not really. The court. What I would like for you to do is have a seat. Listen very carefully. Ms. Gardner is understood that you are not admitting that what she is saying. There must be a lot of disagreement, but nevertheless, Ms. Saccarelli is going to blank. And you have to discuss with Ms. Saccarelli after we have heard this, whether or not this will be the evidence that the state will be able to produce against you. And then the state's attorney steps in. She said, thank you, Your Honor. If the case had proceeded to trial, the state would produce evidence that on the 23rd of March, 2001, Mr. Forbes went to the spot, which is a nightclub, Marlboro Marlboro Pike, Prince George's County. Was his friend, and then when he went there, he met some other females that he knew, and one of them was a young woman. They had met there that evening. Yeah, I'm skipping some of the stuff because I'm marked out and all this other stuff. They had a few drinks together and decided to leave. And as they were going out to the parking lot, the female who knows the defendant seated here in the court, saw the defendant in the parking lot with Mr. Whittington, who is a friend of Forrest. There was a person with them, after identified as Gaddy. When she got out of the parking lot, had an urge to use the bathroom. There was a parking lot. Instead, was going back into the club. She bent to lean down. Have you ever, what have you? And she was urinating. And apparently, Mr. Forrest was upset because the defendant, as well as his friends, were apparently trying to watch her, and this would upset him. Hey, when I read this, I was so heated. Because they manipulated this did happen, but that's not what happened. But I'm going to finish reading, though. Now, at this point, what happened at the point of the story differs. Before I get into that. That did happen, but it didn't happen. Now, this is what happened. I already explained. Slim came out the gym. And, when he came out with the girl, I knew the girl. I was like, dang, go ahead, because I ain't seen her in like about 2 years almost. And because she's real cool. And she my homeboy. She's my homeboy cousin. And I went to her house before and all that. But she my homegirl best friend. So I ain't seen her in a while. So I'm like, dang, young, go ahead, young, because I ain't seen her in a while. So Slim come out of his mouth like, dog, don't be saying that to my girl. I was like, say what, Nick? So Slim hurried up. He all drunk. So when I said that, he like, sobered up. So he kept trying to go to his car. So I'm like, bro, chill out, bro. I'm like, Slim, you good, young. We ain't out here on no stupid stuff. Because I know her. I know Shorty on the strength of Shorty. I'm not even trying to go with Slim on no. And come to find out, Slim knew me. I didn't know Slim, but Slim knew me. But I didn't know he knew me. But he knew my man. So I'm like, why is you acting like this when this supposed to be your man? You feel me? So why is you this type goofy people out here? So Slim tripping. So I'm like, bro, go ahead, chill out, man. Sober up. I said, man, we ain't come out here for all this stupid stuff, man. We trying to go in and have fun like you just got finished having fun. Boom, boom, boom. So I'm like, I'm holding him back, but I ain't trying to rough him up or nothing. I'm just like, bro, I'm talking to him calmly. You know, let him know we good. We always chilling. So I know he's trying to go to the car, get a gun because he's trying to go too fast. He was quick to go to his car. So I'm like, I have a joint on him, but I'm gonna try to talk to him before he try to go get the joint. So let him know we good out here and you ain't got nothing to worry about. Slim still wasn't trying to hear. He boom, boom. He's slowing down. He listening, but then he's like, he's still on some. He's trying to go get his gun type tip. Shorty did go peep during this time. She like, oh, y'all niggas tripping, boom, boom, boom. So she like, man, I got a pistol. So she went a couple cars down and pistol behind the cars. So my man wasn't even trying to watch her, but he couple cars down on the other side, almost directly by where she started. It ain't his fault that she saw the pistol right there. So he looked and he was stuck. So by then my man grabbed Slim up. I didn't even know they knew each other, but he called Slim by his name, and I didn't even put two and two together. So he called Slim by his name, and I'm like, man. So I'm thinking he got Slim, so I go get my man, and I look. I said, oh, dang, she really paying. Boom, pull my man back, like step over something, so you know it won't look like you on some bull crap. So my man stepped over, me and my man stepped over, but then I go back over there, and Slim, Slim still talking with my man. I'm like, bro, chill out, bro. You good. So I put my knee to the door. I'm like, bro, we ain't come out here for all this. Young, go ahead, chill out. So, Slim, the girl come around the car. So my man, he don't even know the girl. So he thinking the girl trying to get in my face, but he don't know I know the girl. So he yoked the girl up. So I'm like, oh, shoot. So I'm like, man, bro, that's a female. Young, chill out. So, by the time, he yoked her up. So I'm like, bro, let her go. So by the time he let her go, Slim jumped in the car, grabbed the jump. So I'm like, bro, that's what I'm talking about, Slim. This goofy. So instead of him, he initially started something with me. He ran past me with the gun, ran all the way around 2 cars to my man, who ain't had nothing to do with nothing, and hit my man with the jump. So I'm like, bro, what's up? I'm like, young. I say, man, get this nigga and go home, young, for something else happening, young. So she hurry up, grab the nigga. What you call it? Because she said, all right, bet. So she grabbed him, go home. we thinking it's over. I'm like, bro, I can't let you go in the house on this tip. And I'm like, bro, you know, I'm like, this is what the main reason why I stopped going to clubs happened. I was like, bro, this is why I stopped going to clubs in the first place. But at one time, I'm like, bro, I'm about to start my business. I've been going to school, working full time all day, every day. I'm like, bro, I just wanted to come out and we supposed to go see Backyard. Messing with one of my goofy friends. But this, my man, homeboy, I took as my man because on the sniff of my homeboy, I shouldn't have never did that, man. Because me trying to look out for Slim, a lot of stupid stuff happened in my life. Because of this clown, this wild dude, man. I ain't gonna call him a clown, but he was wild because he kept trying to be something that he wasn't, and he used to irk me with that. Cause I'm like, bro, stop trying to be something you're not. Just be who you are. And Slim would not get that, man. Slim would not get that. So, man, yes, that happened. We ended up going to that rinky-dink club that I stopped going to. Because it wasn't nothing for real. And I should have, you know, when we didn't go to see Backyard, I should have just went in the house, you know, because we was on our way to see Backyard. Yeah, had to change the plans at the last minute. It ended up at this dumb joint, and that happened. I was like, Slim. And one reason why I stopped going to club, it happened. I was like, Slim, this is why I stopped going to clubs, you know. And I was like, bro, I can't let you go in the house on this note, you know. We gonna go in here and party like this never happened, young, and forget about it, young. And we're gonna go ahead and move on. My man was like, bet, young, I ain't even tripping, Slim. I ain't even tripping. Come on, let's go in here and party. So me going that joint party, 3 hours later, we come out, this man out this joint waiting on us, talking smack, talking like he gonna smoke my man. All this other stuff happened. The whole time, the people we talking to is our peoples. They didn't even know he was talking about us until he seen us come out the club. And they put two and two together, and they was like, oh, nigga, you talking about our man. Young, all this wild stuff, Slim ended up getting hit. They say he got shot for no reason. Slim, you can't come back to a situation with this, with emphasis on negative energy, like you already displayed it at first, and you already proved that you had a firearm and you was willing to use it for the wrong reasons, and I was gonna take his gun the first time. When he first tried to put it out, I was gonna dope him up and snatch that junk from him. But I tried to give him a break because he was with the girl, and I was like, bro, I know how it is out here in the streets, but you can't. I'm thinking in my head, bro, you can't be out here doing this with your weapons, nigga. This is not what it's for, son. You supposed to be protecting yourself. You supposed to be protecting you and her. And that's the only reason why I ain't take it, because I thought maybe she needed protection. She could be safe with him. Man, this clown did the dumbest stuff ever, young. And I was like, Slim ended up getting hit. They say he got shot for no reason, and he beat my man up in a fair fight because he tried to look at the girl peeing. Far from the truth. And this is the state's attorney knew that wasn't the truth, and they still lied about the information and still made it up and still lied about the Slim having a gun. She actually said, as we go on, she's going to talk about, as I read on, it's going to show you that she said the story differs as the facts of events. Now she's trying to say, on one hand, she's trying to say these people said I did something, but then at the same time, she's trying to say that these people testimony ain't even credible because they're trying to say that Slim had a firearm. So which one is it? How is you going to say that their testimony is credible enough to say I did something, but it's not credible enough to accept all the facts of the case, of everything that happened in the situation? Stop playing with us, man. This is how deceitful these devils are, man. And they running around in our faces talking about they are fighting criminals. And they are the criminals, man. Talking about they fighting criminals and against crime and all. No, they the ones perpetuating and perfecting criminal acts, man. So, you say now at this point, what happened at this point, the story differs. Mr. Forrest as well as the girl say most of the argument occurred between Gaddy and Mr. Forrest. My man never argued with the dude. Slim jumped out there with me. He saw I wasn't having it, and he automatically redirected that negative energy to my man. So and there was a mutual altercation. It was not a mutual altercation. It's no mutual altercation when somebody run up on you unsuspectingly and smack you with a firearm. So it's no altercation there. That's an assault, you know. So he said he hit Mr. Gaddy a few times and Mr. Gaddy fell on the ground. So Mr. Gaddy and my other man said Mr. Forrest produced a weapon and struck Mr. Gaddy, and Mr. Gaddy fell down to the ground. But in any event, there was an altercation between Mr. Gaddy. So she's trying to play off the fact that, see, in trial, that would have made a difference. In the initial motions and hearings, preliminary hearings, if that information would have been presented, I wouldn't even been charged with what I was charged with. None of that. So she's trying to play it off though, like even if this was true, we don't know if it's true or not, but there was an altercation that happened. She's trying to play it off. Hold up, Sam, you a professional state's attorney. How is you not going off the exact facts of the case? How was you playing this off like this not a real event in this case? And this fact weighs heavy on the state's burden of proof of anything of they saying, and the fact of exculpatory evidence and all this other type stuff, because now you withholding evidence from what's really been happening in the case. And this is vital information that weighs in on heavy on decision making, because if a person just beats somebody up and then gets attacked later on, that's something different. You know, especially with a firearm, whatever the case may be, is in retaliation, that's something different. But when a person uses a firearm and then he's met with a firearm in the same face when they come back, ain't nobody go after Slim. Slim came back. That makes a big difference in the situation. But they try to play it off. But anyway, we're going to keep going. See, they rolled around a few minutes. They went back into the nightclub for a very brief stop. And this is one of the things with when I'm breaking down now, people are like, oh, that's snitching, Josh snitch. Bro, how you going to snitch on something that already happened, already been made factualized in court and in society? Because they put all this stuff on documents in society. So now I'm speaking the truth, though. I'm speaking actual facts of what really happened. So I ain't trying to hear nothing. You miss me with the bullcrap, nigga, because you ain't going to play with our codes and our honors and our arguments of how street codes is and all that, because these street codes ain't what these government officials and agents is trying to tell you. It's not meant to, it never was designed to incriminate our people and make us look like criminals and hurt us. It was designed because people came up with the mentality that if you're going to deal with certain situations in the streets, keep it in the streets, because these police don't have no real interest in helping and protecting us. That's what it was about. It wasn't these other people who came into these communities and played like they was real G's or whatever the case, whatever you want to call them. They did not fall in line with our true code of conducts and all this other stuff. They did not fall in line with that. They were they was what you call it? I can't even. I'm so heated, young. I can't even get the word up. It was imposters, impersonators. It was impersonating who we really are. You feel me? Because in no way did we allow, in truth, our people to be victimized and taken advantage of the way they had been in these communities. These people who came in these communities and they was benefiting, and they was taking bribes and money from police and other people and allowing this stuff to happen in our communities, and then making it look like they was the face of our people when they wasn't. They weren't the face of our community. They ain't real G's out this joint. They didn't hold it down for our people. These some clowns. They didn't hold it down. They didn't protect our children and these kids out here in these streets. They didn't go to the ice cream truck and buy them ice cream like that, like I used to do back in the day and all that other type stuff. Look out for the children, take off my own money and whatever the case may be. They didn't do that stuff. They didn't look out for and protect our people. People getting robbed, we got to go out there. Police ain't handling that. We was out there making sure people stop getting robbed. You feel me? We was out there handling that. Police took the credit for it. They said, oh yeah, robberies dropped. They ain't know that robberies dropped because we was in the community putting in work, making action. Like, Slim, don't even come through here no more with that bull crap or something gonna happen to y'all. And they knew not to come through there with that bull crap no more. Police ain't do that, but the police got the credit for it, you feel me? So it's a lot of misrepresentations in these communities that's being presented out there, and they stealing all the honor, but then giving us all the dishonor. They making it look like we the wrong, we the reason our communities messed up. No, Slim, we was the strength and backbone of our communities. I don't know what they talking about. So moving on though. Slim was tripping though, but anyway, I don't play none of that bull crap. Oh, this, that, and just no snitching them. Bruh, you know what snitching is. You know what difference between. If you don't know the difference between it, you shouldn't even be saying it then, because that's a whole nother ball game right there. And we not gonna sit there and allow these devils and deceivers to play with our codes of honor in communities and environment and make it look like we supposed to just get taken advantage of and lied on and set up, and then we got to be quiet because we're not supposed to say nothing. No, that's dead. That's not what that was meant for. It was meant for a whole nother level, and I ain't even gonna break that down right here. But yeah, it is what it is. But they rode around for. So once they say after the altercation, they say the dude, after I told him to leave, before something else happened, and then when he came back, something else happened. Sad to say. They rode around for a few minutes, then they went back to the nightclub for a very brief stop. Then they left again, and they were gone for about 3 hours. So this man had 3 hours to sober up and think. In 3 hours, the only thing he can come back and do is talk about killing somebody that he already assaulted with a firearm. That's stupid. Who does that? So apparently this guy. So then he dropped her off. He dropped the girl off. Went back to the club. And they claim he went back for his friend. We don't know why he came back. For real, but we know he came back and he was on some bull crap. And when he went back to the club, he parked his vehicle about the same area that he's been previously parked. And he was in the vehicle and he saw his friend, Mr. Cox, at the white Lincoln Continental, talking to a female. He also saw him, and look, this is how wild they is. Because it's no way they saw me talking to a female and my man chilling. When we came out the club, Slim was right there in the parking lot. We didn't even get a chance to do nothing. Slim started rah-rah as soon as we came out the club. We wasn't talking, but this is the state's attorney side of things, the lies of things. This is them trying to justify, falsify, indict me and falsify information against me. He said, they say he also saw my man watching him, and he saw Gaddy in the parking lot. As he was sitting there waiting for his homeboy to come out, as he looked in the rear view mirror, he saw the defendant coming up behind him, and then the next thing you know, he recalls that he was bleeding and he had been shot. So this goes contrary to the initial statement of when they tried to prove premeditation. They tried to say that first he said he don't remember who shot him, he don't remember anything. That was his initial statement. Then they coerced him later on because they didn't have nothing against me. They kept trying to find a way to keep me in prison. They coerced him into making another statement, and then this time he tried to say he saw me coming up to him in the rearview mirror. And then he said, I jumped in the back of the car and shot him in the head. I said, man, this is bogus as hell. Because in the other statements, and his homeboys and all the other people and these females that they had as so-called witnesses who had hearsay statements, they said that when they came out of the club, he was in the car with the doors locked. So how did this man get shot in the car with all the doors locked? No bullet holes in the car, no bullet holes in the windows. What's going on? Who jumped in the back of the car? How? So you mean tell me somebody jumped in the back of the car, shot him, rolled the windows up, and closed the door and locked it? Stop playing, huh? Somebody stood out the car, shot him, and then rolled the windows up, closed the door, shot him. It don't even make sense. Then they tried to say in his statement, they tried to say he threw the car in reverse with the back up, and then I jumped in the back of the car. So you mean to tell me, even though my name's Sonic, I'm that vicious that I could jump in the back of a moving car that's going in reverse, shoot somebody in the head, jump out without no scratches on me, nothing, close the door, run away, get away clean, scot-free, no scrapes, no bruises, nothing, perfect shot, perfect. OJ couldn't even do this with a glove. Stop playing with me. So, young, and then you tell me this man blacked out after getting shot in the head while his car's in reverse, and his car was still in the parking lot, still parked. How can you throw your car in reverse, get shot in the head, black out, going in reverse, and your car don't keep rolling and crashing into traffic or somewhere else? It don't even make sense. All these stories was bogus, huh? That was not proving anything beyond reasonable doubt. But anyway, he said, these events occurred in Prince George's County, Maryland, Your Honor, and I'm sorry that the victim is a result of injuries. He was flown to Baltimore shock trauma, and he is deaf in one ear now because the bullet apparently severed his ability to hear on one side. Now, I never heard of anything of this man actually suffering from being deaf in the ear or none of that. But this was an actual statement that she came up with so that she could make it look like this was an extenuating factor that they create to make it look like it's so hard, so much of a horrendous crime that you gotta go and give this person the maximum sentence. Now, this is the thing. I'm gonna say that for my motions, because I did a motion to correct a legal sentence, correct and vacate a legal sentence, and I'm gonna break down that even more in depth. But I'm gonna touch that, but I'm gonna just leave that alone. But I'm gonna put all that on later on and say apparently he severed his ability to hear on one side. Never heard it. I think some can hear on both sides, but she was willing to lie so that I can get a harsher sentence based off of that false information, or information, whatever the case may be. And then the defense attorney, Sacarelli, she said, Your Honor, we agreed that if the case went to go on trial, that the evidence would be what the state would produce. I agree that's what they would produce, but it's all a lie. And I was going to argue against that. So, the court finds that Mr. Cox, you have knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily given up your rights you would have if you had not pled guilty to count 2 of the indictment with the charge of first-degree assault against force, and if you had pled not guilty to the count 4 of the indictment of charges which charges you wish with use of a firearm into the commission of a felony crime of violence. The court also finds there is a sufficient factual basis to accept your plea guilty in which it was not, but it was all set up for that to happen. And that the plea is accepted, and the court will reflect that it is an ABA plea, and we will order a PSI. Sentencing for December 17th, the defendant will remain in his current bond status, which was no bond because they falsified information on me and said I was also locked up for a murder, which kept me at no bond. The defendant, and I'm going to show that in a couple of documents. I already showed it in one of my documents that I posted as in my document entries, but I got another one that shows that once they found me guilty and sentenced me, that they non-process. How do you non-process a count that I was never locked up for? So you just proved that y'all falsified information in my dockets and falsified information against me just to keep me locked up. It's wild though, man. That's some of these people in these positions of power, man. They criminals. And in the end, I said I had a good lawyer. I'm glad she was my attorney. And you know why I said that? Because I was putting emphasis on, if she was a good lawyer, I'm glad she was my attorney. If she was a good lawyer, that she would have kept on proving that. And then at some point in time, if she was a good lawyer, she was no longer a good lawyer when she handled my case. That was my emphasis on that. And it said, I'm glad she was my attorney because I got to prove that these are the type of people they giving us as defense attorneys and saying that we getting a fair trial, we getting fair hearings, we getting effective counsel when we not getting nothing effective or none of that. But then the last page, it ended in that. But that was the plea hearing, the plea jump that I went through. Now, Slim, I was done. Going through that, Slim, to know that you being wrong and everybody around you working against you, Slim, it ain't a wonderful feeling, y'all. Because that jump, that's a painful feeling, man. You know you being lied on and set up. And everybody around you is helping them set you up and lying on you. And it's nothing you could do, because even if you speak your truth, even if you speak the truth, they still set it up for you to be victimized in front of everybody. You feel me? So that was a mean jump right there. But on paper, man, it looked like a clean plea hearing. Everything looked good. But you didn't see 5 to 10 years in there no more, did you? Where the 5 to 10 years go? The plea was 5 to 10 years. Sentencing guidelines. How they end up with a cap of 30 and 30 years and all this stuff, and they not supposed to allow you to plead guilty to another offense in place of another offense. So how was they able to get away with this, y'all? This is the type of criminal activities we are going up against in our communities, man. And it's the people that are supposed to be protecting us and helping us, the ones that setting us up and destroying us and killing us, man. And then they playing it off like they so honorable and prestigious, and you better not call them out, or you better not say they wrong, or they gonna try to set you up even more, son. That's how wild it is, man, out here. But that concludes my Plea Transcripts hearing jump for the documentary. I'm gonna post this on my YouTube for the documentary, and I'm gonna get more in depth later on. But that was just covering the basis of everything that I was going through with my plea transcripts and plea hearing, and how on record it's an organization, it's organized crime. They was able to facilitate a hearing and document it as an official hearing and make it look so legit and clean and no problems, nothing wrong with what they was doing. But the whole time it was all errors, all wrongs and faults up in there, and all deception. You see? And this is what they did to a lot of people, man. Years before me, probably years after me, and all that. And now they trying to address these issues, and then they making so-called new law. How you gonna keep making new law for stuff that already been argued against in the first place? These certain laws already been set in place to protect our people from being set up like this, and then they still doing it, and then they like, well, we're gonna rule on this now and make a new law. Son, it's already been a law. Why is you making it look good in your time to make it look like y'all not a part of what's going on, but they really a part of what's going on? Y'all setting people up. But anyway, man, I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'll probably do the sentencing transcripts on the next one, and then I'm gonna do the sentencing transcripts, and then I'll do the motion for reconsideration, and I'm gonna break all that stuff down just like I did this. And once I get everything out of the way, then I'm gonna do the overall. Then I'm gonna go through all my motions to correct the legal sentence. I filed a couple of them, and addressing a lot of the issues in that, and a lot of other stuff. So I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one, man. Hope y'all doing good out here, man, because it's really real out here. They trying bankrupt us, man. If y'all starting to see, man, it's more and more happening, more and more. As people get older, you starting to see, man, it's all the setup. The older you get, all the promises they made about 401ks and retirements and stuff, a lot of people ain't seeing that money no more. A lot of people, all that money when they told us to work hard and buy property and all that, a lot of people property getting taken from them. They all the retirement benefits that they've been living off, they raising up taxes, which you don't understand. They raising taxes and all that stuff and raising the cost of living. So now the fixed income that they was on is not even enough to pay for that property that they didn't pay for. So now they mortgaging that stuff. They reverse financing, reverse mortgaging, and they're losing their homes. They're selling their homes. Then they're giving them options where you can continue to live instead of you passing your house on to your family members now, which you work hard to do in your land and stuff. Now they got, well, we give you this deal. We give you this amount of money, or we'll let you live in this house for free, as long as you live. But when you die, this is gonna be our property. Son, all that stuff is being set up, bro. So a lot of people starting to see it now, man. But y'all better start working together for the good, boy, because these devils been working together for a long time for the wrong, and they really getting strong and taking y'all out, bro. So, but that's it, man. I'll catch y'all on the next one.